You all right?
I went to the Texas Lab and I was just associate. Years ago, I was months playing. Traveling through. Oh my God, you can play that stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you hear those songs that you played by? Going to five, and orchestra, military stuff, play the real thing. It was incredible.
Normally, private lines, what's a middle line? Man, one good range. Artist is something I. You read. Yeah. Both are working.
Famous brother, yeah. We've heard.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff.
Something very close. Oh, sorry. Right, you're not.
Need some blue.
Cheers. Wait for one. You have your bacon good over there, so you won't get left. You want? You have to take one in, each one. Oh, okay. That much. Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, it's Find again. One, down, down, yeah, right behind it. Three bar up. Okay. One, down, one. Okay. There we go. And good to see you. Richard was making this a marathon, so I just wanted to speed it up a little bit. Hold one and put one in when the hat comes around.
Thank you.
Hold one, put it in when the hat comes around.
Yep. Right. Sure.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Right. That one.
Okay. There you go. You got yours?
Right now,
It's not.
Is it ready? Inside all now. You can't see me here, right?
No.
There you can't see me.
Okay.
Oh.
But not really, not really.
Right.
71,000. So, pretty good base.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good evening. Welcome to the Collin County Republican Men's Club. We're very pleased that you're here, so please give yourselves a round of applause for being here. So, you know, the Collin County Republican Men's Club, as many of you know, but it's always nice to refresh the memory of those that who don't know, but the Collin County Republican Men's Club is over 50 years old, 52 years old. It is the longest continuing serving men's club in all of North Texas, and we're very pleased. You know, we aspire to the traditional Republican values, and we're very pleased to meet here right here in Collin County Republican headquarters in Plano, Texas. And even though I know, you know, it seems like Frisco and McKinney get a lot of press, right? But don't forget, Plano is still #1 by far, population-wise, and they tell me after talking with the folks over at the Collin County Appraisal District, certainly by far it has the most appraisal money comes from Plano, Texas. So remember that. So welcome. We're very pleased that you're here. And before we get into our invocation and have our flag salute and to both the U.S. and Texas flags, I want to just bring to your attention a gentleman who is here this evening and that we want to recognize very much. He is a World War II veteran. He is a member of the Navy, served in the Navy in World War II in the Pacific Theater. And Robert Campbell, please stand up and be recognized. Thank you all. Thank you for giving Robert the due honor that he deserves. Thank you so much for your service. So, this is a Republican event, right? I know we have a lot of guests, and that's very nice. You know, I can see where members of LEXIT and all, you know, they always talk about they got so many members, and you'll see here in a few minutes maybe perhaps why they have that, right? So anyway, welcome guests, and we're very glad you're here. And since this is a Republican event, we start off these meetings, unlike, quite frankly, the Democrats, who, if you remember 4 years ago, literally took the word God out of their platform. I don't know if you all remember that or not, but regardless, they do not open their meetings in a word of prayer, but we do here. So I would like to call on Mr. Howard Powers to please come up and lead us in the invocation.
Could you rise? I'm not gonna be good at this. I usually say, oh, my lonesome. We good? Not ready. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we ask Thee as we gather here tonight to bless us in the endeavors that we are here to pursue as individuals, as a club, as a party. Lord, we've lost so many good members in the last 2 years. Mike Vance, Carol Maxwell, Dixon, Valerie Harrington. We pray that you welcome them into your bosom and give us the strength to go on without them. And we thank Thee for all the blessings that Thou hast bestowed upon us these last years in Collin County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If that's one of your prayers, you know that one of your first time public prayers, I think it's about time for you to become a pastor. So, we would like to welcome one of our elected officials and just a great guy. Please welcome Constable Gary Edwards, who will lead us in our U.S. flag salute.
Please join me as we salute our symbol of our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Constable. Please remain standing, and I'm very pleased to also have here this evening the official Republican nominee for Collin County court, number 5. But I say he's nominee, but actually he has no Democrat opponent, so I like to call him Judge-elect. Although technically, I guess that's gonna be November, but please welcome Randy Johnson.
Join me in honoring the great flag of the greatest state in the greatest country.
Honor that flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you.
I don't have an opponent, but please vote in.
And of course, Randy, but I want to have a special shout out to the young lady right here in the back. And I'd like to tell the story, you know, as the president of this organization, a lot of times I get phone calls. And normally, you know, the last, except for the last several months, it would always be, hey, John, so tell me, you know, who's our speaker going to be? Remind me again when the meeting is, or questions like that. But all those questions went away several months ago. And now I only get one question when I get phone calls, and that is, hey, John, is Kellyanne going to have her brownies at the men's club meeting? Kellyanne, thank you so much. Well, I do want to thank you all for being here this evening. It means a lot to myself. It means a lot to the membership of this club. And, you know, it's a little bit like what you hear in, you know, a good Baptist church. You got to have that altar call, right? Well, at the men's club, the altar is, hey, we would like you to join the men's club, okay? This is where all the things come together. You've got great fellowship. And I'll just be very honest with you. There have been several elected officials, several candidates. They've told myself this, they have told Abraham that, they've told officers of this club that, you know what, we always like coming to the men's club. I go, okay, well, that's nice, well, but why? He said, well, in comparison, it's like, you guys have no drama, okay? So, if you don't want drama, this is the place to be. If you like solid, hardcore Republican values, this is the place to be. If you want to make good friends, this is the place to be. If you want to have an impact in the county, this. If you want to hear great speakers, this is the place to be. And you know what else? It's a great place to meet and greet, and you know, you're serving. This is like a mission field, quite frankly. You know, America has, by and large, we're at a crossroads. Let me tell you something. When federal law enforcement can be used against political opponents, that's tyranny. And we just witnessed tyranny about 10 days ago, and we have got to stop it. Okay, I'm telling you guys, things are going on in this country that if we really knew what the real story was behind the scenes, we just wouldn't believe it. We're beginning to see more and more of that. We're seeing where former presidents are being harassed, where they're, quite frankly, it makes me so angry at what's going on in this country and these things. So if you are just half as angry as I am, or half as motivated is really what I should say, I am motivated to go out there and do what we can. We all have our local areas of influence, right? It's the local area. It's your family. It's where you work. It's the church you go to, the organizations. I mean, as much as there's not a lot I can do about it. I do have an impact about who I elect as my congressperson, right? I have a vote that says who my governor's going to be and who my senator's going to be. But mostly I can have an impact right here with my family, right? My kids, my grandkids, with our parents, whoever they may be. And being here tonight, you are having an impact. Being here tonight shows that you care. So I'm just telling you, step up. It's a $25 fee is all it takes. By the way, we call ourselves the men's club, but females are full members in this club and voting members. So there you go. I just put it out there. So we encourage that very much so. Enough about that. On to a couple more announcements. We are very fortunate in this county, Collin County, to have what's recognized as one of the very best community colleges in all of America. And we're very pleased tonight. We've got two of the trustees that are in the audience tonight. Jay, where were you? I just saw Jay sat at home right in front of me. Okay, thank you, Frank. And also, we've got Fred Moses, who is here. So, gentlemen, thank you for being. And, Jay, are you up for election next year? Yes, you are. Fred Moses, are you up for election next year? Yes, you are. So we've got two Republicans are up. Now, that's technically a nonpartisan race. But we all know that there's no such thing, right? We're all sharp enough to realize that. Let me tell you, the Democrats are coming after Collin College. They're coming after the great and honorable president of Collin College. They would like nothing more to get a voting majority on Collin College Board of Trustees and make dramatic changes in that college. So thank you, gentlemen, for being there and for protecting the college, protecting the president, who is a very honorable man, and for what you do. I'd like to ask Fred if you would just come up for a couple minutes and update us on what's going on at Collin College.
Okay. If I miss anything, Jay, I've talked to Jay already. He's on my back.
Okay, great.
He will pinch it for me. But also, I would like to say that as John was talking about this club, and a lot of us have a lot of history of it. I was president of this club maybe 40 years ago, in 1984. That was the first great office. So, and then also the other thing, John announced all those reasons that you should come to this club. But if you are anybody in this county, if you aspire to serve public, run for office, you want to come to the men's club and get to know these guys, the people that are here. They are very influential group in this men's club. So that's another brownie point that you should put in your slide. Run for office. You need to come by the men's club and pray a visit with them. It's a very strong, very influential club. We talked about the college. We just celebrated 35 years. We have about 58,000 students. Many of the colleges and community colleges, particularly in the state, this year, because of COVID, are losing enrollment. Recently we had a report in fall enrollment already. We have a increase of about 6 to 7%. So that's pretty extraordinary. For other colleges, everybody else is losing enrollment, but we are. So we have the lowest tuition in the state, and we also we're the second lowest in tax rate in the state. So we got some good things going on. And we just finished 5 years ago, you voters approved a bond for us, $600 million. We just finished that program, and we have 7 additional campuses. And what it does is really it's any place in the county somebody can get to a campus in about 20 minutes, and so that's pretty extraordinary that we have already figured that out. So it's pretty accessible for you to get to college. In the last 5 years, I think we've been spending the majority of our time building these campuses, and in particular, in the last 2 years, when COVID was around, and most of the building trades couldn't get material, couldn't finish their projects, but extraordinary. We eventually, this afternoon, we were in McKinney. We were opening one of our last campuses, a welcome center in McKinney. At the McKinney campus, we have a welcome center, and the good citizens of Plano, good citizens of Collin County, gave us $1 million to have the naming rights for the campus, which is pretty extraordinary. And it's finished. It's a beautiful campus, and it's a welcome center. But if you're ever up on 380 and 75 there at the university, you should go by that campus, and especially that welcome center that we just finished. But we've been mostly working on the bricks and mortar over the last 5 years. But you're gonna see in the next few years, we'll be working on workforce partnerships we got some great partnerships with businesses in the area in terms of what we're doing. We have 2 bachelor's degrees in nursing and in cybersecurity, and we're about to have a 3rd bachelor's degree offered by the college which is in construction management. So there's some, and then we have a fourth one coming on. And, but also, there's some great things going on at the college. And I'm a product of a community college. So I'm very, 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 very focused on the mission and the work that it does in communities like ours. But it's a pretty extraordinary institution in our community that's doing a great job. And so we hope that you continually support us. And we have, you know, we know our community college, our college is one of the best colleges in the state, and we might be in the nation. But that's what we're doing. Jay, you want to add anything?
No, you said everything.
Okay, well, okay, that's who we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. You know, I'd like to brag on Fred Moses because of his lifetime service. You know, I don't know if everybody realizes what Fred Moses has accomplished and continues to serve the people of Collin County. But Fred Moses, not only owns and president, founder of his own company, right here in Plano, extremely successful company, but Fred Moses is the former president of the Plano Chamber of Commerce. He's former chairman of the Economic Development Council, Plano and North Texas. Fred Moses is a former chairman of the Collin County Republican Party. Fred Moses is a former chairman, that to me that's the most important, former president of the Collin County Republican Men's Club, as he pointed out. So, Fred, thank you for your lifetime service to this country. Very good. So finally, we have a special guest that we want to introduce to you. You all know that there's a lot of things going on across Texas, across this nation. Particularly, you saw some amazing things happen in South Texas, where for the first time, the Latina lady was elected as a congresswoman right along the Texas border. Just a few years ago, that was the bluest of blue. There were no Republicans elected anywhere, all along the Rio Grande Valley area there. But things are changing. And when people realize the values and what Republicans actually stand for, and they cut through the smoke that the mainstream media puts out there, people realize that, you know what? I think I'm a Republican when you really look at what's going on here. So we are very privileged this evening to have the North Texas director and the Dallas area chapter of LEXIT. And many of you know what that is. That is the Latin exit from the Democrat Party. And talking a little bit about that, we'd like to introduce Michelle. All right, please come on up. Thanks.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. And let me just say, for the last probably 5 years, I have been beyond frustrated at what's been happening with the lockdowns, the mandates, the perversion that's going on in our schools, in our churches, in our communities. The Biden junta. Let's call it what it is. So after talking to my friends and family nonstop, blowing up their phones, I decided it's time for me to stop complaining and feeling helpless. And it's time to step up and get involved. So that's why I decided to join LEXIT, which stands for the Latino Exit from the Democrat Party. Now, if you've never heard of it, I guarantee you the left has heard of LEXIT. We are the largest conservative Hispanic group currently here in the U.S. We have chapters from California to New York, and the left hates us. I can tell you, and let me tell you why. One, LEXIT is explicitly Christian. Can you believe it? We share the gospel.
Amen.
I mean, can you believe it? A political organization in the United States that is not afraid to share their faith. Last week in California, a LEXIT chapter put on a back-to-school supplies event for the community. 107 people came to Christ. I mean, LEXIT is pro-life, pro-free speech, pro-Second Amendments. Hispanics love their guns. And perhaps the biggest reason why that the left hates LEXIT is because we are leading away the fastest growing minority group in this country from the Democrat Party. Now, for many years, I think it's been the narrative and just kind of the thought in the Republican Party too, that there is no chance that Hispanics could be reached. As John said perfectly, they're too blue. They're too set. They vote as a bloc. They will never change. Well, in 2016, something happened. Along came a man who didn't talk like everyone else, who didn't think like everyone else, and certainly did not tweet like everyone else. And that man was Donald Trump. And he flipped what the establishment thought they knew about politics on their heads. Trump spoke directly to the Hispanic community. And you know what? They responded well. I know to a lot of people, Trump's rhetoric was a little strong, but let me tell you, the Latino people in this country, they heard it and they understood what he was saying. He understood that Hispanics, they're individuals. They don't vote by their skin color like the left would like us to believe. So LEXIT, like Trump, recognizes that Hispanics want freedom. They want a strong economy. They're hardworking and they want jobs. And it's just that a lot of them have been lied to and they don't know what the party platforms actually stand for. So LEXIT does a great job at communicating to Hispanics that, you know what, you're actually conservative. So I'd like to give you guys a couple of stats just to really show you what's been going on in our country, because the mainstream media would like you to continue to think that Hispanics are only Democrats. So in 2022, this year, the National Republican Congressional Committee did a survey of 47 battleground districts that were heavily Hispanic. And these were their survey results. When asked which party would do a better job at dealing with jobs and the economy, 42% of Hispanics said Republicans would do a better job. When asked to these battleground Hispanic voters who would do a better job at dealing with the rising prices and the higher cost of living, 39% of Hispanics said the Republican Party. When asked the Republican Party or Democratic Party who can do a better job of dealing with crime, 40% of Hispanics said the Republican Party. And when it came to the border, 44% of Hispanics thought that the Republican Party would do a better job. And lastly, when asked which party would do a better job at protecting the American dream, 41% of Hispanics said the Republican Party. Folks, the Democrats are very soon going to realize that the minority community that they think that they can rely on is changing and changing fast. Hispanics do not like the woke policies of the demonic left. Let me tell you, they care about their families, they care about their children, and they don't like the perversion that they're seeing. So I want to encourage everyone just to speak truth to your friends and family, because a lot of people don't know the truth about our party platforms. And things are changing in this country, and to all the Harvard-educated elite individuals who think that they're going to run this country and use pronouns with our kids, and indoctrinate our families, they've got another thing coming, because in a couple years, it's not gonna be the Harvard-educated leftists running this country. It's going to be the hardworking Hispanics that are conservative running this country. And they better wake up before they know what's happening. Please visit, we are LEXIT.com, and speak to me after about getting involved. Thank you very much.
Michelle, thank you. That was a great speech of hope for our country, and very, very positive. Thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready for our main keynote speaker, and I would like to have Mr. Mark Rutledge come forward and introduce our speaker.
Thank you, John. Well, I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but the Democrats, in their audacious ways, I think a lot of them decided they're going to run on the economy this fall. Right? Inflation was 3% last month, looking great. Hey, unemployment's down. People are dropping out; they're not looking for work. I get an email daily now from the Democrat candidate for Congress. He sells Congress. A lot of you know who he is. He used to say he was a Republican. He tried to run as a Republican in elections last May. And what he's chosen as one of his primary platforms is veterans. Okay? Against Keith Sell. A war veteran, right? So I guess he's trying out this audacity MO to see if it's going to work. I don't know why he sends me an email. I've never voted for a Democrat. I don't know anyone else receives
He probably got our database when he ran as a.
Yeah, right. So anyways, what does that have to do with our speaker? Well, you know, we Republicans, we think we own the veterans issues, the military issues and such, and we kind of do, but we're not perfect. And there's a lot of work to be done nationally in this area. And that's why I asked William here to be our speaker tonight, because he's, I'll go ahead and read his bio now. William is the Dallas Engagement Director for Concerned Veterans for America, a veteran policy advocacy organization started by Veterans for Veterans. He's also the president of Blackthorn Alliance, a U.S. government and corporate security consulting firm. William is a 12-year veteran of the United States military, having spent 8 years of those years in special operations with Marine Recon. All right. William has served on multiple deployments to the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Africa. He has briefed and continues to brief individuals within the intelligence community, particularly on national security and veterans issues. William graduated with honors from the University of St. Thomas, where he earned his bachelor's degree in history. He also graduated with honors from SMU, where he earned his master's degree in global studies. William and his wife, Ashley Smith, there you are, reside in Dallas, Texas, where they continue to educate and defend freedom. And I've seen them do that, and they do an excellent job. Without further ado, William Thomas.
And I do want to just point out, my wife's last name is Thomas. Ashley Smith. Just so y'all know, I did marry my wife. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. Oh, please bear with me, ladies. When I say guys, I'm a 7th generation Texan. I mean everyone. All right. I know we don't have to explain it for everyone that's not in Texas and you just got here. Thank you. And you did just get here, but know that when we say guys, talking about everybody. I'm going to keep it real low key tonight. I think there's a lot of heaviness that's circulating if you read the news, if you watch the news, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, it's just getting heavy. So I want to keep it a little light tonight and just kind of speak to you guys from the heart. What we do as an organization, CVA, Concerned Veterans for America, we're one of the largest veteran policy advocacy groups in the nation. We advocate for 2 areas, veterans healthcare and foreign policy. Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about healthcare. We started about 10 years ago. Like Mark said, it was a group of veterans that got together and said, hey, we need to tackle this issue from a policy standpoint, because without policy change, you're just beating a drum on the ground. And as a VSO, Veteran Service Organization, you can help those guys and gals on the ground, But if you want a long-term change, you gotta that policy. So that's what they did. They got together and started, advising and helping craft legislation, with our leaders up in Washington. Please bear with me. I like to pace because it keeps my mind rolling. So that's what we do. We have our base camp is up in Arlington, Virginia. We have a team, full-time staff that advocate daily, are constantly with our representatives, senators, every week. In fact, just got off the phone, earlier today with one of our policy guys, and we're driving, GAPS Act, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but that's our big push right now, especially because, the PACT Act just passed. And, if you're not familiar with the PACT Act, it's commonly referred to, as the burn pit bill. So we'll talk about that as well. So I got started with CVA, not too long ago, actually, about 6 months ago. Began to shift focus. We pulled out of Afghanistan. It was an atrocious pullout. I think it was even worse than some of the things that we saw with our Vietnam veterans. And if we have any Vietnam veterans in the room, let me first, I'd like to thank you guys for enduring what you had to endure, coming home to a country who spat on you, called you a baby killer, so that my generation didn't have to. So if you're in this room and you're a Vietnam vet, thank you very much. We're talking about veterans health care, and we all signed our name on that dotted line and raised our right hand. And many of us, I didn't know most of you before tonight, but I'd do it again tomorrow. Frankly, I might have to do it again tomorrow. Well, let's not talk about that. I hope not. There are things that were promised to us. I'm not up here asking for $1 million. My brothers and sisters aren't asking for money, just things that they were promised. I was raised to be a man of my word, and my handshake, my word, or my bond, strong as oak. But that's not what's happening right now in DC, VA. Now that's not to say that there aren't some veteran affairs hospitals and clinics that are taking care of the guys. That is a fact. In fact, a gunner of mine, if you're unfamiliar with Marine Corps terminology, a gunner is a Marine Corps warrant officer who is specifically in charge of combat operations. So different from other warrant officers that might have more of a support or logistics type role. I was talking with Gunner. I said, Mick, you just retired 27 years in the Corps. What are you doing at the VA? How are they treating you? You can just move back to San Antonio area, which San Antonio is actually pretty good. He said, you know, I'm not experiencing any issues. I said, good, Mick, good. But I know the folks over in El Paso are. Why? Because we were there in April with an April Fool's event called You Can't Fool Us, because of their wait times. El Paso is home to ForceCom, one of the largest installations we have in the U.S., Fort Bliss. And yet they don't even have a VA hospital in El Paso. But what they do have is 3 VA clinics. Those 3 VA clinics have the worst wait times in Texas. So we brought attention to that. It's something that we do. And this is self-reported on the VA's website, so you can go look it up for yourself. It's nothing that we went and pulled out from somewhere. It's self-admitted. At the time, it was 68 days to get an appointment. That may be acceptable to some people, but that's not acceptable to me. Now, I didn't come out with injuries that are life debilitating or emotionally debilitating. Other folks did. I had a buddy of mine lose both of his legs and his left arm because he was the last man in the stack going through a doorway to clear a house. One of his Marines stepped on his pressure plate, and that was that. That's the way it goes in combat. But if he took 68 days to see his orthopedist, it's unacceptable. There are guys like that in El Paso or outlying towns that have to drive into El Paso 2 or 3 hours just to be seen because they don't have any other facilities close to them. They are making the trip. One of the other things the VA's been doing is, yes, they may have a wait time. Dallas is actually not bad. Last I looked, last week, it was about 24 days. Okay, it's not horrible. We've got 368,000 plus veterans in the DFW area. It's not bad. 24 day wait period. Okay, I can sign up on that. But 68 days, no, I can't abide that. So what are we gonna do about it? Well, we were having this thing called the Air Commission. The Air Commission, was a, VA self-reporting, commission that said these are the things that we need to change within our VA structure. And most of it's on infrastructure. The veteran demographic has shifted. The age differences have changed as well. But when it comes to our facilities, most of our facilities are 50 years old or plus 50 years old. They're not up with the times that the injuries that are being seen that need to be treated. They're unable to take care of those veterans that are coming in with double amputees, or the facilities to deal with PTS. They don't have those capabilities, and it would cost more to upgrade them than it would to tear them down and rebuild a new facility. And the VA reported that to Congress. Congress said, okay, you take a look at it. The other part of that Air Commission was a lot of veterans have moved south. They're no longer living up on the Northeast coast. So all the facilities that we have up there are underutilized. And the ones that are down here in the south are being overwhelmed. We need to lift and shift those resources to where the veterans are actually living. So that was something else that the VA reported on. Unfortunately, our congressional leaders under this current demographic of Democrat leadership. And let me peel back and say, we are a nonpartisan organization. We like to work with everybody who's willing to get on board with our policies. Because sometimes it does take reaching across the aisle to get a bill passed. It just happens that most of the folks who support our bills are Republican and conservative, but we can't help that. So Congress killed the Air Commission. They kicked the can down the road, and we're gonna have to wait to deal with that on January 1 when we get a new Congress. So without getting political, make sure everybody goes and votes. Because we desperately need it. The GAPS Act, that's what we're currently working on. It stands for Guaranteed Health Access to Those Who Serve. Or personnel who serve, excuse me. And what that does is it opens up community care. Kind of like your HMO. You can find out who's in your network. Go to that doctor or that facility and be seen in a more timely manner. And especially for those guys and gals who have to drive 2 to 3 hours to get to the VA, whether it's a hospital or clinic, they don't have to spend that time on the road getting to that facility. They can go see out their out-of-town doctor or their out-of-town dentist or audiologist or whatever that ailment may be. And why this is especially important now is because we're going to get an increase with the PACS Act being passed, which is a good thing. If you've been exposed to chemicals or a burn pit overseas, and you're having respiratory issues or other issues from being exposed to that, I'm sure our Vietnam vets understand Agent Orange exposure. And those who know about the cancers that caused, that's something that they should be able to be seen for, and they can now. The guys that just spent the last 20 plus years of war can be seen for those issues where they weren't readily able to be identified as that was the determining factor for them getting that ailment. So that's a good thing. But what is that going to do? It's going to open up a whole new demographic of issues that need to be seen, which creates backlogs. So again, we need that access to community care. We're not talking about pulling funds from the VA. To the contrary, the VA needs to be in place but it also needs help. Just like other organizations exist within our government that are actually non-government organizations. FDA, it's not a government organization. You didn't know that? Postal Service, it's actually not a officially a government organization, in case you didn't know that. There are things that we can work on as a community to help the VA, to help these organizations that are government run more efficient. And that's what we're proposing. Working on that policy is going to have long-term effects and long-term benefits for years to come, because not every sign and symptom presents itself within a certain time period. It may be 20 years before you know what's ailing you. Whether you have a new lung disease that we're not aware of, or a new type of cancer because you're exposed to those pits, because you're exposed to those chemicals. So that's what we're currently working on, expand that community care. So how do we do this? Fortunately, we have some very gracious donors, so we don't have to ask for money. We get to focus all of our time on engaging with the community and helping the veterans and engaging with our policymakers, working on these policy issues. But what we do need help with is helping our elected officials understand where we want them to target their efforts. And we do that by you, the constituents. Volunteering your time to sign petitions, go out and get other people to sign petitions, phone bank with us. Because when I was on the Hill with others from across the nation, we were in about 30 states. We all, every year, get together in DC and advocate with our policymakers, and we did that in June of this year. And I was able to talk to Pete Sessions. I was able to talk to, Beth Van Dyne's office, and some of our other leaders from other states, state of Arizona, for instance. And most of them were already on board with our policies and what we're doing. Since we were one of the policy group that got the VA Mission Act passed in 2018 under President Trump, which was a tremendous effect with opening up care and the treatment that our vets are receiving at the VA. But it needs to get better because almost 20 million appointments were canceled during the pandemic. So that means 20 million veterans weren't able to get seen in a timely manner during the pandemic. So we got to keep that from happening again. So with those numbers, with that data, myself and our other teammates around the country were able to convene and talk with our policymakers and say, hey, here's what your constituents are saying. And they said, yes, we know. We got the petitions. We received phone calls. We said, great. Thank you. I'm glad to know that you know that I know that you received those petitions and those phone calls. Because we need your help to get behind this piece of legislation. But we need your help. We can't do it without your help. So, if you'd like to learn more about our organization, what we're doing to impact the veteran community from a policy standpoint, please feel free to talk to me in the back, grab some of our literature. You can check us out online at cv4a.org. It's Charlie Alpha, excuse me, Charlie Victor 4, the number 4, Alpha, cv4a.com. And I'd be glad to talk to you some more about that. All of our policies on healthcare, all of our policies on foreign policy are on our website. These are issues within the healthcare realm that we need to tackle. As a veteran myself, I don't have to, fortunately, use the VA. But a lot of my brothers and sisters don't have that option, and they need the care. They need the best care that they can get from our veterans healthcare facilities in the VA. So, with that, I'll open up the floor to some questions. Anybody have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Hey, you're talking about the facilities and
Yes.
help house, water, or Apple clinics,
Yes, sir.
Are the veterans not able to use alternate where they can go to?
No.
No?
That's That's what the GAPS Act is trying to address.
Oh,
Yes, sir. So they don't have that option right now. Like, I can't, so if I were a veteran, I didn't have, outsourced healthcare, providers such as Blue Cross or something like that, I would have to go to the VA or choose not to get my ailment dealt with because I can't go out of town. I have no other option because I either can't afford it, I don't have, healthcare coverage. So, these were injuries that were sustained while in military service. So the VA should be addressing them. But some facilities are better than others. And, if I live in El Paso, it would be because there are 3 clinics there, and I decided I'm gonna drive all the way to Dallas or all the way to San Antonio to be seen because their facilities are better and they're not getting seen within 24 days and I can make that appointment. But when I call to make that appointment, they're gonna tell me no. Based off of your address, you need to see one of the 3 VA clinics in El Paso. So go ahead and make that appointment.
Yeah.
Yes. So what it does is when you make an appointment, they cancel that appointment, it resets their clock.
Okay, they don't get penalized, huh?
That's right.
Unreal.
So under the pandemic, that's why almost 20 million appointments were canceled. So it restarts their clock. So I'm not here to harp on the VA, but there are issues that we need to address and make better. Because there are great people working at the VA, there really are. And a lot of them are getting burnt out. In fact, met a lady who just came on board with us. She's down in the Rio Grande Valley. She's an Army combat veteran. She worked at the VA for years in mental health. She has a master's in psychology and is trained in dealing with PTS. And she got fed up with it. She left because she said the VA is not doing what they're supposed to be doing and I can't make a difference from the inside. So again, that's why we have to have these policy conversations with our lawmakers. So, yes, sir, please.
How does TRICARE and TRICARE for Life play into that?
So that, not to me if you're retired, because I'm not retired from the military. If you're retired from the military, you get TRICARE for life.
Right.
But if you're not,
You get TRICARE.
no, sir, you do not get TRICARE. Otherwise, I would have TRICARE right now instead of Blue Cross. So that's the unfortunate,
Well, what happened along the way? I mean,
That is a great question. And I can do some
my wife
research on
is
that.
67, and she had TRICARE up until she was 65, and she didn't want to TRICARE for life.
Okay.
That was only 2 years ago.
Well, I'm not sure how that got locked in because I don't have TRICARE. I served for 12 years. So, I can do the research on that and find out what happened.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic question. In fact, let me, plug that in here.
Because one of the things that might be considered, and I'm just thinking, listening to what
Yeah,
you're saying.
please, yes, sir.
Is instead of trying to upgrade the outdated VA hospitals, if we had a program that took all of the military and provided TRICARE or the equivalent thereof, that you could go to any hospital.
So that's what we're trying to do with the GAPS Act.
Okay?
That's essentially what we're trying to do with the
Then
GAPS Act.
everybody gets upgraded and you don't have to go back and redo buildings that should be torn down.
Yes, sir, exactly. So that is essentially what we're trying to do with the GAPS Act, is open up that community care. Yes, sir.
What do you perceive as your main challenges? Is it congressional penny pinching or VA bureaucracy, opposition and lobbying, or something else?
Both.
Or all of the above?
Both. Yes. I don't want to say anything negative about some of our congressional leaders. But as you know, a lot of it is political satire. You may or may not see in the speech or on the television. But that isn't to say that there aren't those that are working on it. There are several congressional leaders that are reaching across the aisle and work with us on the Mission Act and are currently working with us on the GAPS Act. So it's not necessarily a partisan issue. I think there's a lot that has to do with the VA lobbying and the bureaucracy of cutting through that red tape. We were able to do it with the Mission Act, so I can't help but think that we won't get it done with the GAPS Act. But it's gonna take some work, and that's what we're working on right now, to get that taken care of. We'll see what happens with the Air Commission, if we can get that rolling again. New Congress coming in January 1. I believe we will be able to. But again, it just takes the time and effort, and that's what we're going to do. But it takes everyday folks, me included. I'm just a dude here on the ground, which is congressional and Senate leaders accountable and say, hey, this is what we want, this is what we should focus on, among the many other things that we want to do. That's their job. Political office was not necessarily intended to be a career, but it is now. Therefore, this is your job. So, please do. Cesar.
Yeah, foreign policy is a rather large area. Can you give me some kind of indication as to what your foreign policy people focus on?
So, as an organization, we focus on no prolonged wars and fiscal responsibility for the good. So, because of my background, I have a certain viewpoint of my own on that, so I'll leave that there. Yes, sir.
Is there some sort of a database or something that veterans can use to report their problems where organizations like yours can actually?
So we love to have those stories. They actually help us because it makes it personal, face with the issue.
Is there anything nationwide or?
I don't know of any other organizations that are doing that, particularly because a lot of them are DSOs, Veteran Service Organizations, which are 501c3s, which means they can only utilize about 20% of their time to log in, which is what advocacy, policy advocacy is. Boil it down, that's what that is. But we're a 501c4. We actually have all. We're a 501c3, we have a 501c4, and we have a super. So I won't talk about those tonight because I'm here talking out of the C4 status, and so I'll leave those in place.
But you do collect.
But we would like to collect those, yes. So I can get you my card. You can contact me directly, and then I can get in touch with our team that collects those issues and stories. We will absolutely take those. Get those guys and gals in front of their reps.
That's right.
I'm in the process of setting up some veteran advisory committees for our leaders right now. So those are, one of them is running, and we're getting a couple of other ones in place. So that's just here in the Dallas area, if you will. I'm technically my region is DFW, but I predominantly focus on the Dallas area just because it's so large. Yes, sir.
Might have a misunderstanding, but didn't President Trump, executive order or action, expand accessibility for all the veterans?
Yes, sir, he did. Unfortunately, what happened on day one of President Biden's presidency is he came in and undid about every darn thing President Trump.
Restate what you just said.
Yep.
So everybody else.
So, not
Trump did.
politics, but just actuality. President Trump did sign some executive orders that expanded those things.
Accessibility.
Yes, sir, accessibility. On top of what he was able to sign into law that we got through Congress and the Senate on the VA mission. Unfortunately, this current administration came in day one and undid pretty much everything that he had done in the 4 years he was in office. And I'm talking not just some veterans issues, veterans health care, we're talking foreign policy, we're talking border. I mean, that's all out there on the internet. You can research that for yourself, and I encourage you to. So, but yes, sir, you did. Yes, ma'am.
About the GLA training.
Yes.
They would.
Thank you for bringing that up. I love that. Grassroots Leadership Academy is a free training that we offer to groups that are interested in learning how to become grassroots advocates and activists. We can come in with our team and tailor it to your specific needs as an organization or as a community, and what that may look like for you. Or we can give you the 1 day, 8 hour of the lead boot camp. Typically the training's over a 3-day period, but we can also come in and do an 8 hour, 1 day certification on how to be a grassroots advocate. So if that is something that you as a club are interested in, I would ask that those that participate in that at least help me out with that free training with club banking or petitions, getting folks to sign petitions with us, so that we can come in and do that for you guys for free. So if you do want to do that as an organization, please let me know, and I'll be glad to get our GLA team involved. We have 6 here across the state. They come in and do that. That's all they do. They're in the training education department, and is to focus on how to get out there in the community and activate their fellow, not conservatives, but you know. Yes, sir.
William, is there anything that we as an organization that you would like us to do or to get involved to help do some of these things you're talking about and promotion of the new bill you're working on? And
Yes, sir. So if anyone's interested in volunteering your time with me, not only would it help me out, but it would help our veterans out. Whether that's getting petitions signed for the GAPS Act specifically, every one of the petitions that's signed, and we do it online. I try to do it online. We do have the paper version, and that just takes a little time to, type into the system. That's all right as well. But every single one of those gets fired off once it's in our system to that person's representative. So it doesn't matter if they live in Cumberland County, or if you're sending this as a link or a QR code to your cousin in Montana or Wisconsin. It doesn't matter because it all goes directly to their representative. So like I said, we're in 30 states. Let me think. We have my team here in Texas. I say my team, the team that I'm a part of here in Texas. We're in Houston. We are here in Dallas. We are in Abilene. We are in RGV, Rio Grande Valley. And we then, of course, have our upline staff that cover the state, like directors. So there's two more of those guys. We have a good team of 6 of those here, plus part-timers. There's a good group of part-timers, and our volunteer base is growing. So I don't think anybody has been here in Dallas for the last, since 2018. So we're regrowing here in Dallas. We're getting the word out that we're back in town and we're working on these issues. So if you are interested in volunteering with us, or you are interested in GLA training, please see me in the back and I'll get you on the list signed up for that. And, any other questions? Yes, sir.
And then in Bonham, or is it Denison? We have a VA hospital that's in Bonham, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you familiar with its operations?
Not in Bonham. I haven't gone that far north. I wear a couple of hats during the day. So I'm currently working on going on the Dallas area right now. And then I will be going north to Sherman, Denison, etc. Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Well, I'd like to mention one other thing, if you're not aware of it. Here in McKinney, we have a federally qualified health center that's in operations. And anyone that has a medical need can go there. You do not have to insurance. You can have insurance and still go there.
Yes,
I don't know if you're familiar with the operations.
I am not.
Federally qualified health center.
Okay.
There's now 109 of them in Texas. And so it's a community-based program. All right, we raised about $2.5 million and have a physical facility, and then it's staffed with physicians and RNs.
Okay.
Okay. And again, it's not directed to Medicaid. Okay. It's directed to the public. If you have a United Healthcare Blue Cross, you can go there. If you move here and you don't have a doctor, right? If you have an emergency situation, you can go there. It's a wonderful facility. This is the 3rd year of operations.
Excellent.
Okay.
That's good to be aware of.
Veterans you need to have that for your veterans.
Yes, sir.
So they could go in and get the attention that they need.
Absolutely.
Right? And they can go online, but it's a federally qualified health center.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I will, and also I do have a few of ESOs that I'm working with in the Dallas area. One of those is Texas Veterans Network, which is powered by Combined Arms, if you guys are familiar with them. And I'm sure Gus, he's their North Texas reps. He's not aware of that. He's on our committee to be on the he's on our Veteran Advisory Committee. So I'll be sure to pass that along to him as well. But thank you for making me aware of that, because I was not. So thank you. Anyone else? No? No? All right. Thank you so much. Table.
I will
Back.
answer additional questions. Conversation. Thank you very much. With that, I'm going to turn things back over to our distinguished fellow president.
Thank you, Mark. William, thank you. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for bringing your lovely bride as well. So thank you, Ashley, for coming this evening. So, folks, we do have a special announcement, by the way, talking about our September presentation and event. Now, you all know that every third Thursday is the men's club. That's number one on your calendar. I don't even have to say that because I know that's the case, right? Every third Thursday, 7 o'clock. But next month is September. And we are going, the men's club is one of the lead sponsors on a special event that's taking place. As you know, the Collin County Republican Party chairman, Mr. Abraham George, is one of the officers of the men's club. And I'm very pleased to let you know, in fact, this is like the first official announcement of what's taking place. But next month, on Monday evening, September 26th, is going to be the Big Red Wave Rally and Revival. The byline is the final push to victory 2022. So the men's club will be heavily involved in this big rally, this big revival event. You know, everybody talks about this red wave, right? But let me tell you something. With 30 days to go at the end of September, basically 30 days to go before election time, if we sit back and if we do very little and okay, looks like we got it in the bag, we don't work that hard, let me tell you something, it could go either way because the Democrats are out. Absolutely, they are so afraid of this big red wave. In fact, it's been argued that the media is promoting this whole idea of a big red wave to get us confident and not to work hard. Let me tell you something. There are 5 state house districts in Texas that the Democrats, along with the Democrat National Committee and the State Democrat Party, have targeted as flip districts that they want to take what had been a Republican elected official and flip it over to Democrats. And you know where 2 of the 5 are? Collin County, Texas. Right here, literally, in the very spot that we are meeting tonight, is the heart of one of those districts. So, that district happens to be District 70, excuse me, and district that has Frederick Frazier running in McKinney. Jamie Jolly is the representative, the nominee of the Republican Party, and this district and district up in McKinney are 2 of the 5 districts. They are pouring untold person hours, man hours into the district. They're bringing in walkers from all over the state. They're pouring in hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars into these 2 races. And if the Republicans right here in Collin County and across the state, if we don't take this seriously, they're going to flip. So, in understanding that, this is the final push for victory because we want to take this red wave and turn it into a tsunami. So we're all going to be here. Everyone in this room needs to, instead of next month, rather than the 3rd, you need to be on the 26th, that Monday, up in McKinney. You're going to be receiving a bunch of emails about it. You're going to be being talked about by all the different candidates. But that is going to be the Big Red Wave Rally and Revival on Monday, the 26th of September. Abraham George will be one of the keynote speakers. We're looking at getting the state Republican Party chairman as one of the keynote speakers. We're going to be hearing from State Senator Angela Paxson and many others. And this is going to be a big, big event. So the Men's Club is one of the key sponsors of this. We're going to have all of our membership, instead of at our normal Thursday night meeting, we're all going to be there on Monday the 26th. So I want to make sure that everybody right here knows about that and remembers that. You'll be getting a lot of information about it. Now, we always like to have a very special drawing, and this evening I want to make sure that Tim has been handing out, Richard, I know you were handing out some of our tickets. So did everybody get a red ticket? That's part of our big drawing. We like to call this the ticket of fortune, because you're going to be receiving a $50 gift card to your choice, the Olive Garden, Cheddar's, Season 52, or Bahama Breeze, or Yard House, or Steakhouse. So, is anybody missing a red ticket? Do you need one? Because we'll give it to you right now. We want everybody in. Kellyanne, you got yours? Good. Randy, you got yours?
I do.
All right, excellent. Bobby, you got yours? Yes, sir, excellent. Paul, you got yours? Excellent. I think, Michelle, would you do the honors, come forward and draw that ticket for us? That would be wonderful. Tim is walking up inside the big Republican Patriot hat. Just pull out a number and read those numbers for us.
The number is 408256.
By the way, you gotta be present to win. You didn't?
What's your number?
What's your number? But the men's club, there you go, there's your gift certificate right there. You take Mary out? Wonderful. So ladies and gentlemen, again, William, very appreciate it. You've got a table, spend some time talking with William. Michelle, I think you're standing. You have any questions about that? So, Kellyanne, since you brought those brownies, attendance has been. All right, we will see everybody next month on Monday the 26th. You are adjourned.
Very well. Good. See you.
Boy, you watch out.
Thank you.
I'm still.
Yeah, you need to know that. Just wanted to let you know. How are you? Already. Next time, why don't you?
How are you? Place is gonna be helpful. Yeah. Bit of a honest. That's right.
I'll see you next. Did you order anything? No phone, dog?
Are they good?
You're gonna join us at Outback?
I know, I'm a good friend. I'm sorry. Good.
Okay. I'll be getting paid. Better check, make sure we just moved out.
Okay. Okay.
Sure. I love good, I can't. No, I can't. Go where it's small department. Oh. That's something. Yes, sir. Thank you all. What's wrong with you all good, man? Next week, what's doing? All day, what y'all got right there? Hey, what? Downtown 16. But I have to go to some other mile downtown, head to I can go get some. What was that?
I'll open. Yeah, it's opening next month, which is early. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Sold up. Charles.